Hey guys, George at SoundTraxx here. This week we're going to dive back into our Operations 101 series, and this time we're going to talk about the independent brakes. So let's get started. So this week we're going to talk a little bit about braking. Now, last Operations 101 video, we talked about just adding a little bit of momentum to your models, and you can see that video linked in the description below. But what we're going to do this time is we're going to talk about the brakes. Now, one of the things I've talked to modelers around the country a lot of times, they don't like momentum because their locomotives don't stop and start when they want. And part of what that is because the real locomotives are a lot of mass. Real locomotives are very big machines. They have a lot of mass, so they take some time to slow down. So by adding just a little bit of momentum, not only are we allowing time for our sound effects to take place, but we're also simulating the physics in the real world. So for example, right here on my model, we've got an acceleration rate of 50 and a deceleration rate of 75. So not a whole lot, but just enough. So I'm going to move the locomotive over here to the side. I'm going to unmute, and then we're just going to jump up to a quick commanded speed step, and we're going to use our Bluenami decoder. But everything we're going to talk about today is accessible for Tsunami 2 and Bluenami. So now we're running at a nominal speed. Now when I cut the throttle, you'll notice that it doesn't stop instantly. It takes a few moments to come to a stop. And so if you're trying to spot a boxcar or something like that at a specific location, it can be very easy to sit here and go back and forth and miss your spot because your momentum is dragging you past, and so it becomes a little frustrating. But once we add in the brakes, we can actually stop the car and the locomotive where we need to. So the way this works, we're just going to talk about independent brakes. Now the independent brakes are, as its name implies, the brakes that are actually on the locomotive. And so when you open up and you start controlling your decoder, whether it's a Tsunami 2 or a Bluenami, when you're operating your locomotive with F12 in the off position, you're running the independent brakes. So I'm just going to go ahead and run the locomotive here. And just so you can hear the independent brakes. So when I apply the brakes, you'll actually hear squealing on the brakes as they bring the locomotive to a stop. Now, as I mentioned, the independent brakes are the brakes that are actually on the locomotive. So what you're hearing is the brake shoes. When the cylinder is filled with air, the brake shoes press against the wheels and bring the train to a stop. So the squealing you're hearing is the brake shoes on the wheel. Now, the way this works is CV117 sets the braking rate. Now in the Bluenami, you can do this through the app or you can set the CV, but for today I'm going to use the CV exclusively. So if we come in here and we're going to go ahead and go to CV settings, and on my screen you can see that I've set CV117 to a value of 178. And what that does is that represents a minus 50 from the deceleration rate set in CV4, which as I talked about is actually set to a value of 75. So 75 minus 50 means we have a braking rate of 25. So when I come back here and I'm going to run my locomotive now in the forward direction, we're going to go at a nominal speed. We're going to release our brakes. Now when I cut the throttle, you're going to notice that it takes a few moments to come to a stop. Just like that. And that's how you can simulate the momentum. But now when I change direction, we're going to go about the same speed. And now when I apply my brakes, my independent brake, with a minus 50, you're going to see me stop at a rate of 25. And you can see that that locomotive stopped a lot faster than it did before when I simply cut the throttle. And so that's how you can use the brakes to stop your locomotive more quickly. So if I wanted to stop right here, we're going to go ahead and set a nominal speed. Now you can feather your brake on and off just like the real world. So we can turn the brakes on, and we're a little short. We can turn them off, just like that. We can feather them on and off, and with a little practice with your settings that you like, you can stop at the same place every time. So spotting the boxcars at your industries becomes a little bit easier and a little bit more fun and enjoyable because you're using more of the features of the decoder, more like the real locomotive engineers run their trains. So that's all I've got for this episode of Operations 101. So we hope you enjoyed this. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. And be sure to hit that subscribe button and click the notification bell so that you can be notified when we drop great content like this and other videos that we've got planned in the future. So guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.